What is going on, everybody? How's everyone doing? This is Dan back with another Moonshine talking. It's the weekend, not the weekend for me. I'm getting ready to go into work in a little bit here, but I figured before I did that, I would take advantage of some of the free time I have and do a collection update. I'm going to try to not do a lot of commentary with this because it'll probably turn into a mini movie if I try to do that. Few things I'll mention, little notes here and there, but beyond that, I'm just going to try to blast through these because I had quite a few things. I went through a few different avenues to purchase a lot of this stuff: Bandcamp, eBay, and my local record store. So I will just credit all the places and people that I got the stuff from. From eBay, I got from these three separate sellers. One is Mad Rush Media, who I've talked about before. I tend to go to Dave and his site a lot, his store. Also, Thrash Metal IQ, who Jason is the guy who runs that. He's very cool. Got a great selection of rare and I don't know if say newer stuff like that, but a lot of his stuff he gets from people when they're selling their collections and all that stuff. So he's got a really good selection of stuff, especially if you're trying to find rare, hard to find stuff. He's got a bunch of first pressings and things like that. So it's really cool. And he's got a YouTube channel and he updates his collections and all that sort of thing. So that's kind of cool to keep track of things. And then another one called Rarewaves USA, which they're really good. They've got a great selection. They're all three of them are very easy to deal with. I haven't had issues with any of them, and when I have, they've been resolved pretty easily with no real worries. So I would recommend if you do any shopping on eBay for metal, hard rock, punk, or anything like that, I'd go to any of these sellers. I'll post links in the description if you want to check out their stores on eBay. Bandcamp speaks for itself. That's a cool way to buy from the artists and see them get a little bit more piece of the action as opposed to some other mediums and whatnot. And then my local sound exchange. That we have a sound exchange here, so I go to that all the time, and I'm always constantly checking stuff out and spending way more money than I probably should. But again, as long as you're paying your bills and you're not destitute and homeless and you're eating and all that sort of stuff, there's worse habits in the world that you can have than buying CDs and physical media and stuff like that. So anyhow, let's get into it here. This is my morning elixir, as it were. It's got honey, parsley, some lemon juice, and that's pretty much it. It's just a nice natural diuretic cleanser to start the day. I know you probably didn't come here for nutritional talk or how I eat in the morning, but I'm sharing anyway. So let's start with Bandcamp. First of all, I got Barry from that Goat Metal show. I got Go to Mentis. I was chatting with him online briefly, and he was actually going to give this to me, and I said, "No, bro, let me buy that because uh, you had a thing in wrestling called the workers' discount where you could always go to a show, tell them that you were a wrestler, and you could get into the show for free. You never had to worry about it, all that sort of thing. By and large, I hate the workers' discount because the way I look at it, we're all guys trying to get our nut, as it were, and it makes it that much harder when all the boys are going to the shows and they're not paying to get in. It kind of sucks. It's like I always go back to, especially on the independent level, we're trying to make money. We're trying to get to that next level. We're trying to climb the ladder. So if nobody's buying our shit, then it's kind of hard to do that. So I like to support people. I appreciate the thought. I really do. And I told Barry that, and I'll say it again. I appreciate the thought. I really do. That it makes me, that's very generous, very gracious. But I don't I would rather buy the stuff. I'd rather buy people's stuff and support their endeavors in whatever they do, whether it's music or movies or being a wrestler, all that sort of stuff. So anyhow, I went on Bandcamp. I purchased it. All he asked me, he sent me a ton of promo stuff and he sent me the lyrics and all that sort of thing. All he asked was I do a full and honest review on it, which I will. I just want to listen to it a couple more times. Will say on the Suicide demo, I love the Spawn samples. Like a lot of the songs, they're different versions of a lot of the songs on the four discs. One's a live one, and the other three are different are demos and EPs and different versions of the songs. So I want to listen to it a couple more times to give it a full and honest review. So that was that one. So yeah, I guess that's an update as far as yeah, I'll be doing a review on Go to Mentis in the future. The next stuff I got was from old Drucifer. I got Where Iron Death Roams and his split that he did with Serenos and Godamanida. Uh, Serenos is a Russian black and death metal band, and Godamanida is Indonesian black and death metal band. I really like Drew's stuff. I like Iron Casket. I enjoy that Lincoln thrash style. That's really up my alley. I love stuff like Midnight and Bewitcher and Hell Ripper and stuff like that. And some of the bands that are kind of not so much Toxic Holocaust, although I do like some of their stuff. I'm just not really familiar with it. But stuff in that vein, I enjoy. I probably on the split. I put Iron Casket, then Serenos, and then the Go to Manada as far as one, two, and three. It's like any other sort of ranking. They were all good, all decent, but someone's got to be first, someone's got to be last. Just happens that Drew stuff I enjoyed the best. Also, gonna do a full and proper review on that because I want to. I want to give it a little bit more time. It deserves a little bit more time. Drew's got a great channel. He's a talented musician, so I feel like give him his respect, and that's what I'm gonna do there. And the next up is our boy Morton Red. I mostly just picked up his patches. Eat pussy for Satan. I got that, and I got a couple of those. I got the Touch of Skeleton and the Forest banner. I'm not gonna unfurl that right now. It's still in the pack. And then he sent me a couple cool things. He sent me this Malicious Onslaught CD that he ripped for me. I'm not really familiar with who they are, but I'll check that out when I get a chance. And then I love this. He said, "Fucked in a whorehouse." That's just great. They've got such a they're so cool with the friggin' they have such great senses of humor and I love the mix of the grindcore and the black metal and the hardcore and all that sort of stuff. It's really good. I enjoy a lot of Revik and Morton Red stuff. Looking forward to the Goat Throne release. And yeah, so that's my Bandcamp stuff. I'll go into let's go to my local record store, my local sound exchange. I picked up My Dying Bride's latest release. It is Immortal Binding. I only listened to it once. It was okay. I'm not really familiar with My Dying Bride. I'm not really a huge goth metal guy, but gothic death or whatever however they describe it. But it was decent as far as stuff that stood out. I couldn't really tell you that at the moment. It's 2024. As far as that goes, kind of middle of the pack sort of thing. I'd be remiss if didn't Revik also sends me this hillbilly grim guy that I guess they were out scouting for locations for a video they're gonna do, and he I guess gave him a bunch of autograph stuff. So I laughed. So from the hillbilly Hellraiser, hillbilly grim, I appreciate the autograph photo. I'll put it somewhere in the room here. But yeah, anyhow, I also got Them by King Diamond, which is tremendous. I really I don't have a copy of that. I don't have a lot of King Diamond stuff, physical copies of King Diamond stuff. So start whenever I see any of that, I'm going to start picking it up. And these last two I'm going to save because it's going to make a little bit. The last two CDs I'm going to save because it's going to make a little bit more sense when I show them off here in a second. But I got Minor Threat on vinyl. I love Minor Threat. I really do. The only a buddy, skate punk buddy of mine, he got me into them years ago, and the only copy of their stuff that I've ever had was this ripped dubbed cassette tape that I have. So it was cool to see that at the record store, and I said, "Oh, I gotta get that." I mentioned this before, Rib Spreader. Uh, it's a modern take on Swedish death metal. Really good. Taylor Nordberg from Deicide, who's in Deicide currently, he's in that band. It's good. I enjoyed it. I laughed because it's autographed, but it's autographed on the cellophane, which I thought was weird. Then I'm a big St. Vitus fan. I found that, found it on vinyl. Stay miserable. I love anything with Wino in it. And it's just I enjoy him, his vocals, his singing, his guitar playing. Love St. Vitus. They're Doom Legends. Again, I'm building up my collection, so this is some of the stuff that I've been finding and actually going, okay, I gotta get that. Found this. I found a Hemorrhage, the forensic files. Not really familiar with them, but I saw it. It was a decent price, so I said, yeah, what the hell? I'll pick that up. And so far, what I've listened to is pretty good, but I haven't really given it a full and serious spin just yet because, as you can see, I have a lot of stuff here to listen to. And then I picked this up because it seemed like I had to get that. Again, it was in sale, and they don't have reek of putrefaction. So I figured I'd get that. I know there's probably something to tell me that the album cover is kind of weird. I don't know if there's a uncensored version of it because I know the original's a little bit gorier than that. But yeah, I picked that up, and then like I said, I'm gonna show these other two in a second. So from Rarewaves, I went nuts with beefing up my Iced Earth collection because I only have Dark Saga, Days of Purgatory, Tribute to the Gods, and Horror Show as far as physical copies. And I said, I need to get the rest of their stuff. I really do. So I found a ton of it. I found the self-titled, Burnt Offerings. I know I'm not going in up order. Night of the Storm Rider, which was for Burnt Offerings. Uh, Framing Armageddon, Plagues of Babylon, and Incorruptible. Plagues of Babylon and Incorruptible they're the they're the ones I don't think a lot of people are too familiar with because everybody's kind of more familiar with the Matt Barlow or the Tim Owens eras of Iced Earth. I actually kind of laughed because I was telling somebody how I didn't understand why I picked up Hell Rider recently, and I didn't understand why they redid a bunch of Matt Barlow era stuff with Tim Owens. It just didn't make sense to me. But they did the same thing with Burnt Offerings. They did a bunch of stuff with Matt Barlow that they did with the original singer, whose name's escaping me at the moment. So that's really cool. And I was like, okay, well, now there's two more I got to get, and then I'll have all their full lengths. I'll have copies of all their full lengths. And then yesterday I went to Sound Exchange. I went back there because I wanted to buy a friend a gift because she had a rough few weeks recently. Had a family member pass, and I was trying to do something nice. And on top of that, she was on vacation. That's why I was doing the 13 to 13 days in a row and working so much. So as a thank you for helping out, welcome back, because she does a lot for the store. That's what the thank you's for. And then sorry about your aunt passing. I got her a Ghost vinyl because she loves Ghost and she's trying to get more Ghost stuff on vinyl. So I picked her up one of those. And while I was looking, I found Dystopia and The Crucible of Man, which were the final two pieces of the puzzle as far as the Iced Earth goes. So I was super stoked about that. This is going to lead to my Iced Earth album ranking that I'm going to do in the future. And then finally, from Rarewaves, I picked up a couple Anthrax, Spreading the Disease, and this dual copy of Fistful of Metal and Armed and Dangerous, which was I love Fistful of Metal. I've never heard Armed and Dangerous. I've really up until recently wasn't real familiar with the Dan Lilker or Neil Turbin era of Anthrax. Like when I was a kid, I would see it and I would always think like, oh, that's not Anthrax. Anthrax has Joey Belladonna in it. And then of course they went with John Bush at some point. But I love Fistful of Metal. I love Medusa, Offspreading the Disease. That's killer track. So I enjoyed those. I was glad to get copies of that. And then I went to my buddy Dave at Mad Rush to pick some stuff up. I picked up Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats' newest one, Nell Ora Blue. This one's weird. It's not really a proper Uncle Acid album if you're familiar with them. They're more of a proto doom. I won't put them in the stoner category, but they're very retro. Use a lot of vintage instruments and equipment to get their sounds. They sound almost kind of like, for lack of a better way of describing it, the Beatles on acid. Like the Beatles if they continued to do acid and then watched a bunch of 70s exploitation films and giallo movies and American horror and stuff like that. But this is their spin on a giallo soundtrack, so it's really unique. It's different. It's not something I'm going to spin often, but it is kind of cool background music to listen to. There is one song on here that is pretty good, which is "Only Death Is Your Handcuff," and most of it's in the Italian, but they also do translations on it so people can see that. They also got, I don't know off the top of my head, I can't remember the names of the Italian actors that they got to do voiceovers throughout the thing. But there are a couple of guys that are real famous in the giallo uh, subgenre of movie. I think Franco something or other. I can't remember. If Revik sees this, he could probably tell me, or I'll go, do an internet search. But that's not helping right now. But I think it's a Franco something or other, and then another guy. But again, it's not like a proper Uncle Acid album, but it's still cool to have. I have everything else they've made, so I said I got to get that too. Then I got a couple Doomers here, Candlemass and Saint Vitus again, more wino. A little bit. Still trying to slowly beef up my later era Candlemass stuff. I got to try to find the stuff with Robert Lowe because I love Solitude Eternus, and him being in Candlemass was kind of like an interesting choice, and something I really was looking forward to. But I don't have any of that stuff either, so I picked that up as well. But haven't listened to that. The Saint Vitus is great. I love Dave Chandler and his feedback and wah wah abuse. It's great on top of the dooming, foreboding, the riffs, that they kind of cling to you like a friggin' like a bug, like a parasite. So it's good stuff. Then I got Sermons of the Sinner by KK's Priest, and it sounds like you would expect. It's KK Downing, so it has he's got also Tim Ripper Owens in the band, but it's really good. I really enjoyed Return of the Sentinel, metal through and through. Uh, Raise Your Fist. Some of it you kind of say is kind of boilerplate, traditional new wave of British heavy metal, but not really. I wouldn't say it's not really new because that's a old term, but nonetheless, it's good. It's a good compliment to the Sinner Rides Again, which I got last year. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was one of the better albums that I heard last year. And that was that. And then I also got this Urn 666 Megatons that Drew had recommended little while ago. And that was really good. I do, again, another Black and Thrash album that I really enjoyed. I liked Burn in Hell, Baptized by Pain, Spirit of Chaos. Those are probably the ones that stood out to me. And then finally, yeah, Doom. I love Doom, but the only stuff I have of theirs, physical copies of, is I have this vinyl that I found in a town called Woodstock, New York, and the vinyl's called Hardcore Holocaust, which is they're all Peel sessions, which is they a bunch of bands went on to UK radio and they played a bunch of stuff for John Peel, I believe his name is. I don't know the history behind it, so and I won't get into it because I don't want to bore you too much. But it was cool. It's a cool record. The thing is falling apart because it's so old. But it's got Napalm Death, Bolt Thrower, Extreme Noise Terror, and Doom, and that's where I first heard them. That's where I got into them, and I saw there was a copy, so I snatched it up. And finally, to try to close this out real quick, from Thrash Metal IQ, I got mm-hmm. Got Sacred Wreck Ignorance. Picked up Holy Terror by Wasp. I'm trying to get their later era stuff. Really looking forward to seeing them in November. I already got my tickets, so I'm excited. I love Charisma, Locomotive Man, Ravenheart, all really good songs. It's still, I know some people bristle because they, Blackie started getting more into like Christiany lyrics when he became born again. So, but that's fine. Teach their own. And then I got Alabama Thunder Pussy, which is a southern sludgy rock band. I believe they're from Georgia. It's good stuff. It's kind of like middle of the pack sludge, stoner rock. But so if you're into that sort of thing, like later era, like Deliverance era, Corrosion of Conformity, trying to think of some other bands like Fireball Ministry, stuff like that, then this would be right up your alley. But if you're not, then you probably won't care too much for Alabama Thunder Pussy. But you should like him at least for the name. The name's awesome. And then I was able to find and procure a bunch of Soylent Green stuff. I love Soylent Green, but I only have String of Lies and Deleted Symphony for the Beaten Down on CD. And I said, you know what, I gotta get the rest of Soylent Green's discography. So went on eBay, saw that Jason and Thrash Metal IQ had them, so I got The Inevitable Collapse in the Presence of Conviction. This is a great one. This was their last one. Confrontation. This was I guess, a Japanese pressing of the album. So that was kind of cool. But I don't really care too much about that. I'm not really too worried about things of that nature. But it was just cool to get a copy of it. And then Pussy Soul, which was their debut. And this one was hard to get and not spend an arm and a leg on. So it was really cool to see that they had it. It was a reasonable price, and I snatched up as soon as I could because I was like, "Yep, I'm getting that." Because there's some people that I've seen on eBay that they're charging like $70 for it. I was like, "You got to be out of your mind to try to charge that much for that thing." So it was really cool. And like I say, all the sellers on eBay are real easy to deal with. So if you want, I'd recommend going to utilize them on top of all the other normal avenues that people use, all the underground sites, Bandcamp and stuff like that. And that's my collection update. I was hoping to have I ordered some stuff from Hell's, but it didn't arrive in time, and this would probably turn into another 15 minutes of me discussing stuff, so I don't want to take up too much more of your time. So you're probably saying to yourself, really, Dan? Post production editing? Well, as luck and timing would have it, came home on my break, and look what arrived. So if we're going to do this together, this is my order from Hell's Headbangers I just placed. And I'll just show it real quick. Try to spare you the gory details because by and large, most of this I have not listened to. As always, this stuff is immaculately packaged, so I probably could have just clipped this out, but this is what we're doing. We're doing it live, as it were. So, bada bing, bada boom, bada bang. Bada bang bang. So this is what we got real quick. We have this, but I picked it up on CD anyhow. Deceased Supernatural Addiction. We'll save that one. I picked up Grotesque Impalement by Dying Fetus. Picked up the new Lurking Corpses. I was looking forward to getting that one. And that just came out, and I waited till the pre-orders were done so I could get it. I waited a week or so after the Lurking Corpses one because Spider just came out with a new little mini album, and I'm looking forward to that. I do enjoy them. Seen them a couple times. They're great live. I picked up the new Desolus System Shock on CD. These are all CDs, by the way. Nothing too out of the nothing too out of the ordinary. I'm excited about this. Another juice for recommendation. Antichrist Siege Machine. Say that 3 times. Uh, it's funny. He threw in. I just showed you that. That's pretty cool. But got that as well. So I got a couple copies of that. Um, I picked up. I'm not. I'm gonna. I picked up Plague Angel by Marduk. Trying to beef up and finish out my Marduk collection. I also got another Deceased, Ghostly White. I've been trying to get my hands on a copy of that to continue to complete my Deceased collection. So we're getting closer. And then this one I've had my eyes on for a while. Some more Black and Thrash, split between Wolf Skull and Hexella. So I'm excited to spin that one non-digital means. And then you know him, you love him, but I'm picking up more of their stuff. Asheron, boom, and boom. So I picked up a few more Asheron CDs. So I'm gonna enjoy digging into Vincent's back catalog. Uh, yeah, so that was that. So that's all I had for you. I just wanted to show those real quick while I was fresh in my mind, and that's the reason for the post production ad. All right, the video's almost over. Enjoy the rest of it. Later. So that being said, there you go. If anyone has anything to add, just let me know, hit me up and what have you. But as you can see, a lot of this I've listened to, some of it I haven't. So it's I got a lot of work ahead of me. So as always, stay sick, stay heavy, stay brutal. Always tuck the chin upon impact. Don't forget to breathe. Don't spend all of your money buying CDs and vinyl and all that sort of stuff. But if you can afford to, then have a good time. And yeah, I'll talk to you on the next one. Take it easy, gang. Later.